Hey, what's going on? So, I'm hoping that this is actually going to work and give better audio. I had a USB-C little microphone in my that I bought a while back. I think I actually bought it for this camera. Oh no, I didn't. I bought it for my phone because I was going on a trip somewhere, and I was like, hey, I could use my phone to shoot like some like vlog type stuff, and of course I never did it, but the thing is, I think just self-consciousness, I guess, caring what people will think about my videoing and stuff, and so I just don't do it much. Sorry, bugs. No, I'm very self-conscious when it comes to stuff. I don't like people knowing, like, even people I'm like friends with, I try not to broadcast to the world kind of thing. So it's just one of those things. I try and keep my work life, and my at-home life. So yeah, and I know I've watched other YouTubers, and they're like, they've recorded video outside of their place of work, and that doesn't end well, because, or in some cases it won't end well, because people that see your videos will deduce where you work and contact your work, trying to talk to their YouTube star. So, but I've looked on Amazon at a couple microphones, and I really wanted something with a shorter cord, but what I have will have to work. And I was kind of actually thinking earlier, well, really just now, because I have the excess cord kind of velcroed up. I was thinking what I might be able to do is, so when I figure out what length wire I'll need, I could just kind of bunch the wire up and then shove it in a piece of heat shrink, because right now it's just got like one of those little Velcro wraps holding the excess cord, because it's got a 6-foot cord on it. And to tell you the truth, I probably don't even need 3 feet. I mean, 3 feet would be comfortable, but probably 2.5, 2 feet would be darn near ideal. I am considering getting some kind of microphone, like a wireless mic, because then if I decide to do something where it's like, I'm riding, and then I kind of like what I tried, but maybe just cough up the DJI system or something. Or I could always see if an adapter would work with, I don't know, because I have the Rode Wireless Go. The only problem is, to make that work would take a couple of cables and stuff, and it would be extra stuff. And benefit with a wired mic, 2 less things to charge when you think about it. Because if you go wireless, transmitter and the receiver need to both charge. And if you watch the previous video, my shoes are actually dry today. Probably won't be like that the whole ride. But I was watching. I've been watching his vlogs for a while, and I I'll throw his channel out there. It's Skivens. Used to be Vlogging Life, but I guess about a year ago, maybe a little bit more, or a little less perhaps, basically rebranded himself as Skivens, which, hey, it is what it is. It's cool. But he did that. I've been watching his content for quite a number of years, probably 10 or 12 years now. And it was one of those, when I first watched his videos, I didn't like his content. Kind of like some YouTube channels where it's like you kind of got to watch a handful of videos before you really get into it, and but I guess it's one of those, his content's very relatable, and but he he went from doing daily vlogs to a few times a week to I'm gonna just do a video when I can. And I mean, not only is his content and his personality is that also I feel like I'm the same way with my channel. As much as I'd love to do daily videos and edit the mess out of the video, I don't have the time. That's why I've kind of gotten into earlier this year. I was just recording, and I'd record a few clips here and there, and then throw them all together for something. So I'm kind of trying to do, but doesn't always work well because life gets in the way. But it's one of those things. If you're watching this, if you're subbed, I mean, hey, it's cool. I don't know. I guess I just do my videos to talk about like my thoughts and stuff, and maybe if something I'm doing or something or talking about interests you, I mean, cool. But oh yeah, it's time again. Guess the only advantage, really, if I keep bouncing back with ideas. If I went with like the DJI mic or any wireless setup, for the price, you might as well get something with dual transmitter. But that's the thing, you end up spending more. If you ever have something where it's two people, you can throw a mic on yourself and a mic on the other person, and your conversation is captured. I was watching one YouTuber that I know does stuff like that. Wind's picking up a little bit. Hear that? I've just changed direction and going into it more. Hopefully the mic's. If not, I'll end up with another video just like last night, where the audio is garbage. But no. So what the channel is talking about does is like he'll ride behind another cyclist, and I can't think of the name. Search on YouTube like cycling New York City, maybe Hotline. Search that. Cycling New York City Hotline. You'll find the channel. You should. I can't confirm because I'm riding my bike right now, but try that. You should find it. But he has this whole setup where he's got like a gimbal on his helmet, and he basically, you can hear the two cyclists because they're both mic'd. Although I think the way they're doing it is like recorders on both riders, not mics. Well, I mean, obviously a mic, but it's not like, at least as far as I know, they may have changed by now, but you know, basically they both have a voice recorder type thing on them, and it's all added up in post. I try and follow the KISS method to my stuff, and honestly, if I didn't already have the Rode Wireless Go, I probably would have already bought like the Rode 2 or the DJI system, but I guess if I could find somebody that wanted the Rode Wireless Go I have, you know, like a friend or something that was trying to start a YouTube channel or whatever, or a podcast, then I'd probably, you know, pay it forward to them kind of thing. Because that's one thing I find I do. I have a lot of ambitions to want to, you know, not like, you know, hey, let me do this and do that in this business, but it's like, with like YouTube, I'll have all these ideas of like, you know, I could get this and do like, and you know, it's one of those things. It's like, if I had somebody that wanted to do something like that, it would be cool. But it's hard to find, you know, someone who has the time, you know, and then you have to have either two people that have like that. So it's one of those. I just kind of just roll solo. But I definitely do like this area because Bug was trying to ride with us. I like this area of riding. It's, you know, I mean, during the day, depending on the day. But on some days, I mean, it's quite busy. Like on a weekend, forget about it. During the week, you're kind of okay. But on the weekends, I mean, you just got everybody out here, which is understandable. I mean, this is right next to a lake. There's plenty of grass areas. I mean, riding, jogging, taking the dog out for a walk. You know, the grass needs to be cut big time, but you know, you can easily you know, like during the summer, you'll see, or weekends, I mean, you know, kids will be out there with their parents and stuff and running up and down, you know, out by the lake. Everybody comes out here, has a good time. It would be nice if they'd do like some pavilions or something to where you could like hang out and, you know, like barbecue or whatever. But I mean, they have a couple of boat launches that have pavilions, so I guess, yeah, I guess they don't want to do too much stuff like that, and then you get problems. Because I think the one thing that would be nice if they did would be at some of these little stations, like where the benches are and stuff, put little bike repair stations, you know. Although, I mean, I guess the likelihood though is, you know, if you're out here riding during the day, you know, if you have a little multi-tool and you have a problem, chances are some other cyclists that are passing will also have a multi-tool. And you know, I have a bike multi-tool, but I also have a like a multi-tool, an adjustable wrench, a knife. I think there's a screwdriver on it too. I really bought it for that adjustable wrench because at the time the seat post I had was, I think, like an 13 millimeter bolt, and it was like, if my seat angle wasn't right, I wanted to adjust my saddle angle or do it, except for I'm at the house, and sometimes it's nice to be able to make an adjustment on the fly. Which, speaking of, I also do want to raise the post height a little bit next time probably next time I'm by the house. I'll do it during the day or something. Not much, just like a few millimeters, because I have more pedal stroke, with my leg, and I think it'd be a little more comfortable, be a little more up. It's also the benefit of a dropper post, because like when I put it on, I was about an inch high, I guess. Like I was hyperextending my knees, or my legs rather, which was, I guess, would be hyperextending your knees as a result. But I was able to just drop my saddle height just that little bit and comfortably ride until I could actually adjust the post height, which is nice. So, and actually, the funny thing is, saying that, I've heard of some people doing that, where husband has a bike or two or something, and their spouse or friend or something, they're like, that's the advantage of a dropper post, is they're like, if a friend wants to use the bike, they can just adjust the height of the saddle to what they need, and you don't have to make any actual adjustments. It's all, I'm explaining this for people who don't know what a dropper post is, but it's basically like your office chair, where it's got that little piston in it, and if I press the lever on my handlebar for the type I have, you can, if I press the button, I sit down on the saddle while pressing that button, it'll lower the saddle height. If I, from the saddle, and press that button, the saddle will go back up, which is very nice, very convenient. Because, I know you can't tell when I'm riding. Maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe you can. But like when I'm going up this little section right here, like when I'm going up, I always try and look a little bit ahead of where I'm riding, especially stuff like this. I don't want to be coming off of that thing, and because sometimes people will be hanging out at the bottom, like doing something. It's also one of those, helps with with the height of this bike. With the height of the bike, when I got to the house yesterday, the back of my shirt was covered in dirt. Not bothered by it. It'll come out in the wash. But I forget what I was talking about. I was talking about that seat, but I forget what point I was trying to make with that. I do so much enjoy this little path. It's very, very convenient, very fun. I mean, and two, making these when I'm riding definitely makes it more enjoyable, because I've got my microphones on, and that's a little bit of background music for me. I know you all can't hear it at all, which is good because it would be a copyright violation, I'm sure. But we'll see. We'll say I should, if I'm not talking, I should shut my mouth. Like, actually close my mouth. Just had a bug fly in there. And I was, again, looking at bikes earlier. I was talking with somebody the other day, and I told them about, I've been riding my bike a lot more lately. And, they do a lot of cycling as well, and he was asking what kind of bike, and I explained to him what I have, somewhat. But I mentioned, I am definitely looking for a gravel bike, and I'm really wanting again to, look for something that I can just swap all the components that are usable from this bike to that bike. I mean, as much as this is a good bike, and it is also one of those things like maybe it'd be worth just keeping a second bike around, because eventually I may have a second bike in the stable. If someone wants to ride, because like I mentioned with the dropper post, if someone's around my height, or even if they're around my height, then like the handlebar and all that position will pretty much be good for them. But if their body proportions a little different, they might want a different saddle height. So with this bike being a dropper post to suit their riding needs. But I would like to get a gravel bike. I was getting ready to go ride today. It's like, I get dressed and I'll notice my gut looks a little smaller, which I'm happy about, because that's the goal of all this riding. And as I got to work the other day, I'm trying to do the portion control thing too. We discussed a couple of, like I'm gonna say fad diets, because it's like I'll know people that have done like the was it paleo and Atkins? I don't even know if people do that anymore. Carnivore, keto, those different dieting mentalities. And we were both in agreement that, those are, and this is just our discussion of them, that, they're good for, you want to burn 10-15 pounds for something, say for a wedding coming up, burning off a quick 10-15 pounds, but it's like we both are in agreement that dieting plans like that aren't good for long-term health-wise. And we could be both wrong. I'm not sure. My thing is I'd much rather work on portion control, because that's where my problem is. That, and I know some people are like, oh man, I could eat meat all the time, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, the problem is, so could I for a week or two, if that long. But eventually, I'm gonna want pasta with that meat. I'm gonna want other stuff. I'm gonna want a burger. I'm gonna want a bun on that beef. So it's one of those, I feel like I personally do better with a variety of foods in moderation than I do to try and stick to, let me just eat one type of thing because whatever reason. Tell you what, it's kind of funny because, like I said, I think I'm probably at about 800 miles by now total, not heading this trip, just overall. If not, I'm pretty close. But it's just funny to think, think about the progressions that I've made with this bike and the changes I've done to this bike, and also how I used to ride. Like before, I have my new setup, my latest current setup is I have a water bottle holder on my handlebar, which is great because unless I need to swap that bottle for another bottle to take a drink. Before I had, they said, a big old seat post bag that hung out over the rear wheel, and it worked for what I needed. It did what I needed to do. But when I first put it on there, my plan was put my drone in there, and then when I'd want to go like for a bike ride, I could ride out to like here and throw the drone in the air and get some cool video. Funny. But once I didn't rub my foot on my front tire. I say for once. I've made that turn, so, but it's always fun. But I had that bag and I just never did anything with it like that. And then it was, I kind of felt the other problem with it was like it was just very bulky, and there were a few times where like you'd hit a bump where I had to have it positioned. It was nice, but it's like I just kind of felt like it didn't really fit in for riding, and I'm only doing 15 miles, 16 miles a day. If I was going like 50, I think it would have been more useful. If I was riding where I'm like passing by shops or something, that it would be much more useful. So nice when there's like zero wind on the return trip. I feel the water spray on my back coming off the rear wheel. It's fun. If there was like shops along the route I rode or whatever, that'd be one thing to have a bag like that, but it's a little too urban where I'm riding to be able to do that. So I ended up switching, just have a small bag under my handlebars that I have my tools in. It works for that. I mean, it could probably fit like a workout type bar in there or something if I needed to or wanted to. I also have Froggy. I have a bag that I don't bring it with me, but it's like one of those nylon packable hiking bags, and I have one of those, not like I said, not with me, but I have one. So if I was ever planning to go ride somewhere where it's like, oh hey, we're gonna ride and we're gonna go up to this place, I could pack that little bag or clip it onto something and then throw stuff in it. Thought that was a bird up ahead on the trail. But yeah. So I just have that simple bag now for my stuff, and it works. Because I guess it's that thing of like, I've gone on trips, and like the first time you go somewhere, especially if you're driving to it, you can actually bring, when you kind of overpack, I guess, you'll throw stuff in your bag, and it's like, then the next time you go, you have I didn't use this or that, but I ended up wishing I had this. I'll give you an example. Normally when I go travel places, I don't bring a whole bunch of, I'll bring a flashlight, but I bring like a flashlight something, we broke down on the side of the road, and I just need to see something, a little more an arm's length away, basically. See enough to change a tire or something. Put a pulley, my foot got sprayed with water just then. What you call it? We went on a trip one time. Should probably have my cranks level when I'm not pedaling. That would probably help a lot with the spray. Like you're supposed to. Amateur hour on the cycling path. We ended up going. We're out of town, and I stayed at a place that had a massive backyard, and ended up going to the Best Buy one day and bought a 1,000 lumen USB rechargeable light, because whenever we let the dogs out in the yard, they couldn't see what they were doing by the fence line, so I bought that. And of course, traveling, so I wanted something that I could just recharge without needing a special adapter or special plugs or anything. So that's what I did. About a year ago now, a little less than a year, really. I bought a Streamlight flashlight that's about the same thing, but that light I bought is I don't know who makes it, but it's a Motorola branded flashlight, and it's a good light, but I'm not a fan of the button on it. It's not like a tail cap. I don't believe it's a tail cap. I think it's like a side push button thing, and level cranks. There we go. He didn't get as wet that time. Down to make sure I still have my microphone clipped on. Al and I both startled each other because I was messing with it, saying "who," and it startled me like crazy when it took off like that. That's one thing. I don't really see owls too often anymore, it seems. Like it used to be, I remember like, you know, a buddy would be hanging out by the house and get ready to leave. And he'd be like, "Ooh, dude, there's an owl on the roof of the house." Like it was literally just like staring at me. And I'm like, "Hey." And but notice I bought that light, and I don't know, I'm particular with my flashlights. I like stuff that are just that work well and work how I want them to work. And like I said, that Motorola for its intended use, it worked fine, but I much prefer that Streamlight that I picked up. Fun fact, it was actually supposed to come to me before Hurricane Ida. But sorry about that. I keep hearing like a noise, and I think it's just gravel under my tires. But I thought it was something stuck in my tire. It was supposed to make it before Hurricane Ida. That's what I'd actually bought it for. Was something to have easily rechargeable, like that Motorola, and also work well. And it didn't arrive till quite a while after the storm, but whatever. I do wish I knew why my cadence sensor wasn't working anymore. I'm gonna need battery before it's dead, or if because when I turned it around, if it's not registering correctly, I don't know. I may just, when I get back to the house, switch it around on what side of the crank arm it's on, and if that does anything. Although I wouldn't see that it would have any effect, you know, being on the inside or the outside of the crank arm. Just doesn't make sense. Sensor might just be going bad, like the battery or something. Not that it bothers me not knowing my cadence or cadence. A lot of inner thoughts right now. Hopefully the audio's better tonight. Ooh. Like not like a stomach cramp, but like a abdominal pain. Weird. I was thinking like I ate a few hours ago, like 4 or 5, maybe more. The joys of a water bottle and the handlebar. I went and got sushi. Ooh, it was good. I'd been craving sushi for a while. And I'll tell you, I went there, ordered like 5 rolls plus an appetizer. It was not good for the diet, but shoot, it was good. Tell you, feels good when I feel like an actual like fitness improvement with my riding. Keep going and not feeling like, you know, like stopping all the time. I mean, keep in mind, there's no, like the wind's very light wind and it is behind me, but before it was like downhill, or it was like my max effort on level was 14, you know. This is like, to me right now, easily a comfortable pace given conditions. Heart rate's not too bad either. 135. I think that would be what, fat burn heart rate. Ooh, yeah. I tried downshifting, but it was too much crank speed. Trying to just get my butt back on the saddle a little bit. Funny thing is, like, that's a lot of times my stopping factor of how much I want to ride is my butt. And I just get to a point and it's like, okay, my butt's hurting, I'm tired, you know, my back end's had enough. That's why I like doing these. I'm able to distract myself mentally by thinking about stuff and talking about it. And I think yesterday, did I go up that? Yeah, no. Time before, I went up that little path right there. It was the same area, just a little different route. I'm really thinking about doing 20 miles today. We'll see. I need to go past my point I went earlier. Make sure what the metal noise I heard wasn't something off of my bike. I don't think it was, because if it was, I would have definitely had a problem by now. Might have been whatever was rattling yesterday, because I haven't heard it rattle today. But I also have random things in that little handlebar pouch. Stuff in there can rattle. But yesterday, like when I kept hearing the noise, I like squeezed on the handlebar pouch and I still heard it. So I don't think it was stuff in there. But I haven't really heard that noise today, ever since I heard that metallic-y falling noise earlier. So we'll pass that area and see if we see anything that fell off the bike. Hopefully it's nothing, or if it's something that's still there. For everything else, there's Amazon Prime. Because and it's important. Amazon Prime. Or the local bike shop on Monday. That is what I remember to do soon, is give everything on this bike a once over. Crank bolts, bottom bracket, everything. Because good way to avoid problems. A little PM here and there. Even though, like when I did I also want to give the bike a good wash. Because it really needs it. Whew. Yeah, this is always good to take care of mechanical stuff. I did the chain not long ago, like cleaned it and cleaned the drivetrain and re-oiled everything. Yep, did it with WD-40. WD-40 chain lube. Like actual chain lube, not WD-40 like the penetrant or water displacer. It is funny to see in some of those bike forums everybody get fired up about WD-40 as it isn't a chain lube, and then people are like, well, that's what I use, and it starts this whole back and forth thing, and they're like, they'll post a picture of like WD-40 brand dry chain lube. I think they also have a wet chain lube, but they'll post a picture of actual like bike specific WD-40 product, and it's like it's that little gotcha moment. I should have downshifted a little bit more. Yeah, because you're actually not supposed to downshift when you have a load on the chain or a heavy load, or upshift. Headlight battery is low. Maybe we can ride till we run out of headlight battery. I pretty much get 2 rides out of a headlight battery. And it's rechargeable, so it's no big deal. Cool. I don't know how much you could hear that, but that grass is waterlogged. Just like the back of my shirt. Again. No biggie. Then what we'll do is we'll go to the end of this, and then we'll cut back into the neighborhoods. And ride around a little bit. I guess I should clear that headlight message off. There we go. Maybe we can do another 8 miles. Possibly. I was trying to do the calculation of riding days. Like I said, I tend to talk to myself a lot, or inner dialogue to myself, trying to figure things out. I also feel like in having another bike, you know, I could kind of switch up my riding, you know, like have a variety. Like ride the mountain bike some, switch out, ride the gravel bike some. There's a lot of why I don't sweat. The fact that, you know, if something happens to this bike, the frame breaks, I'll be more annoyed if I get hurt in the process. But I won't be heartbroken if it happens, because, you know, to me the bike's a tool. I like it. You know, I don't want to abuse the bike, but if something happened to the bike, I wouldn't be saddened. think it would just kind of be one of those whatever. Get a new bike. I mean, like I said, I do really like this bike. I enjoy it, mainly because I've made it mine. But yeah, it's one of those. I'm ready for a bike that gives me a little different riding experience. Not a fan of that little curve right there. I like that house right there. It's very cool design. There. That was weird. I think something fell off the tree or something. Very strange. That might have been something falling out of a tree, like an acorn or something. It's kind of weird. Huh. Big trash can. No, what I was thinking, might like weave up and down these streets, go a few extra miles up here. I am trying to do 20 miles. See if I can do it or not. Well, I know I can't matter if I get tired of going around. Because to do it, you kind of have to go weave all around in about I do wish that this bike computer showed like calories burned while you're riding, but it doesn't. Or if it does, I'm not aware of how to put that data field on the screen. Because I would like to see that. Now, here's what I'm uncertain of. And I think I just got my answer. Let's try it. I don't think there's any left turns to take me up the next street. You know what? I do like those flagpoles. It's nice. Very, very nice. Very nice. Oh, look at that. Ooh, there's a left turn up here. Cool. If I could reach that one, I would fix it. Wee, little drop off. Who remembers the video where there was no power over here? Maybe I recorded that ride. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I like that house though. Yep. I could have just like flashing their high beams at me. Like, that was nice of them. That's one thing. Flash the brights that you like. I don't really realize. I mean, I get the, you know, hey, you can go, but it's very blinding, especially on a bike. But it is appreciated. And I will say, for the cyclists that are watching, if there are any, get a lot more being nice to people on your ride. You know, a little wave here or there, yielding here or there, because you know you're on a 50-pound machine at most, maybe more depending on if you're if you're on an e-bike or something. But definitely more if you're on an e-bike. But 50-pound machine. Car's what, on the light end, 2,000 pounds. So, shoot, just the driver of a car on average is gonna weigh 3 times what you weigh. So, always be mindful of stuff like that. You're definitely outsized by a car, so think about that when you're riding. You can be right, but you're also going to be the ones who get hurt more, even if you're right. Gotta find those miles, gotta find those miles. I don't remember if this was a turn or not. No, like I said, I can go to the next street if there's one. It's earlier than I thought.
10 o'clock.
Here you go, man. Shit, man. Fuck. Do as I say, not as I do. Sorry about that. Didn't see a turn signal. Stuff like that definitely makes me nervous when I do things like that, because that was totally my fault. That was my mistake. We're not gonna go that route though. We're not gonna. If we do something like that in the future, there's a little solution I have for that. Just cross the street earlier. Don't cross at the end of the road. Though I'm already in a better position, I think. But I'm probably gonna wrap up the video here. Or let's check that spot where I heard that metallic noise. Make sure that wasn't a part of my bike. I think I see what it was. I think it was a bottle cap. So, anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Got a few more miles to find, but go ahead and cut it here. So, hopefully the audio was better, and catch you on the next one.